Hey guys, it's Ali from Levraw-Online. I hope you guys are all having a nice Wednesday. I know I am. I'm feeling way better to begin with. Um, so yesterday, after I was done, I went to my hard drive and I looked for some new videos to edit. I have a couple of things that I have in mind. I reorganized a little bit, and I think the next thing is gonna be one of my old projects that's already on the channel, but I'm gonna re-edit it because I think with time, with what I've learned, I could redo it again better. The shots themselves, of course, can be fixed, but the editing itself, I think it's gonna be a big difference. I'm gonna put it like side by side later to compare. Um, Other than that, I realized that in my channel there's a little like there's some details that are missing, so I went through some of my videos, and I think today that's what I'm gonna do. Look at the descriptions, titles, information that I saw that needs to be fixed or filled in, and also I'm going to add subtitles. Why? Because I know that sometimes when I get excited, I speak a little too fast, or my accent can go thicker from time to time. So yeah, I'm going to add some subtitles in English, which you can click on the CC right here, I think it is. And also, I'm going to add some in Spanish because I've realized apparently that some of my family and friends from Mexico have stumbled upon my channel and now are watching. So first of all, a shout out to my friends and family in Mexico, and yeah, if you are from a place who speaks Spanish as well, you can click the CC as well, and also in the gear for the options, and check if Spanish Mexico is available in this video or in my other ones, because I'm going to also go back and try and add it to all my other videos, if possible, the ones I needed. If it's a video that is in Spanish, I will do the same, and then add the ones in English. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and add subtitles of the original language, and then I'm gonna add the ones on the alternative. So if it's in English, first the English ones, and then when I come around do the Spanish ones, and then the ones in Spanish do the first the Spanish ones, and then they add the English ones. So yeah, I just thought it'd be nice so these videos can be shared and seen by more people. So that's pretty much it. Now, out of my personal side, and why you see the title about my take on Star Wars, because when I was gone on Tuesday last week, I got to see Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and I promised you guys I would tell you my take on it. This is not so much of a review, but just a point of like my point of view on it. Before I went to see it, I had seen a lot of articles, and some people were praising the movie as best, like the newest Star Wars, and some people were kind of saying that it had something to it that just made it feel like it wasn't like the rest. To which I think I figured, what is it about it that some people kind of felt weird about it, which I think is actually pretty smart. It's not a Star Wars movie, it's a movie happening in the Star Wars universe. And before you get mad in the comments, listen me out. Just hear me out. Here's the video. A lot of people grew up with Star Wars and what they define as Star Wars as having Jedis on it, which this one lacked a lot, or an appearance from Darth Vader, right? Which technically is it, but you know what I mean, like Force-able people. In this case, it was more of a war movie. So what I think is, that's the thing. It's there's no Jedi's, there's no lightsaber duels, right? There's no a lot of like, using the Force moments, and that's why I think a lot of people think it's not a Star Wars movie, but it is a movie in the Star Wars universe. It's a sci-fi war movie, and if you see it from that point of view, with like that focus in mind, it's a really good movie. It has really nice shots. The cinematography of it is ideal for a war movie. They do a lot of like shots trying to replicate like World War II, and a little bit of Vietnam. You know, like there's like the beach, the people running in between them. A lot of shots that I think are really good for it, because for example, when I was a kid, when I grew up watching the original trilogy, I used to think that the ATTs, you know, the big robots in the four legs, were kind of a joke. I mean, the Empire, other than the seeds themselves, I didn't understand how they got to so much power, where the technology wasn't that far ahead, or than the fact like the things from the rails were scrap. But when you see it, for example, attacking them in hot, they look clunky and with the skinny legs, but that's seen from the perspective of something flying who is able to take it down with a wire. In this film, you get to see everything from the position of a soldier and from the ground. When you see the first ATT and the guy scared from it, it's kind of crazy because you get to see it coming from the bottom up, which of course now you understand the real fear of the people to the Empire when they use a rocket launcher towards it, and it has almost no effect because it's like the tank. Now you can compare it to its predecessor now shown in the prequels and the web and the animated show, and you can tell that like, you know, it used to be like the six-legged tank that the clones and the troopers used, and evolved into this. So it's just a strong, more in Esther, it's taller version of it. It actually has that effect on the people, right? The psychological and the strength effect of it, really. So like the scare and the actual power it can bring. But yeah, as a whole, I think it's a really good movie. Again, a sci-fi war movie happening in the Star Wars universe. I would put it along for the people who still feel like it doesn't belong. With the show, the animated show, you know, the Clone Wars, where there are stories focusing on Anakin and the Jedi's, you know. And obviously, by the way, if you've never seen it, I would totally give it a little of a check. It kind of shows you a little bit more of the evolution of Anakin into the dark side. But there is episodes that are actually based on the war. There's a lot of episodes based on the politics in Star Wars, which my brother, for example, doesn't really love, but I think they are interesting to the story. However, there's episodes that are all about the war, and they follow this team of clones, and they give them identities, and you get to see them, and it's really well written, in my opinion, for a kid show. And then there's also the video games, right, like Force Unleashed, where it happens also in between the period of time between episode 3 and 4, and you also see how somebody has effect in the beginning of the rebellion. You know, the what's his name? Starkiller. So just like that, right? I think there's action. You can see what is the build-up, because obviously nobody was just sitting waiting for Anakin. The rebels were already out there before Anakin. Look, rebels were already out there fighting their way, and you never get to see that. And I think that's what this allows to see, because it gives them more importance, right? They didn't need a Jedi before this. They all fought their way. And that's the thing, right? It kind of builds up more onto the ambience and the world of Star Wars to see people actually fighting the actual felt of the Empire on the regular people, and the believers on the Republic, right? Which is really neat, I think. So again, I'm not saying it's the best movie. I personally just saying that I like it. I think it's a decent movie. I think it's a movie that happens in the Star Wars universe. One thing is, for example, that I think they tried to define it by not having the same animation and music from the beginning. It starts just with Rouge One. There's no putting down. There's no lengthy, introduction with text. Another thing is that John Williams and all the music and art direction was made independent, while the instruments and writing was slightly similar to all the Star Wars. So just so you can tell, it's a Star Wars franchise piece. The songs do not go with the art as like they have a different. Like she has obviously her theme, just like every Star Wars has, and just like Star Wars having its own. But when you hear the Star Wars soundtrack from the very beginning, it puts you back where you left. And this one has kind of like its own. It's like you can tell that it's like a separate line of movies, because they could very well do a franchise of just war movies of Star Wars if they wanted to, or like again, link it with the shows, link with the video games, Battlefront and all those, where you see troopers and clones, and now the rebels, could give to a whole new thing. I know that there's no LucasArts anymore, but again, maybe a cool game could come out of it, right? So yeah, that's my opinion. One only thing that I have, and it's not really a complaint, but it's kind of like a weird thing for me, is the story itself, right? You get to follow it, you get into these characters. They are more adventurous characters. They're weaker, and they're not weaker, but like they don't have the strengths of the Force and all that of their counterparts in all the other films. They die off one by one for the cause, which is going to be the predecessor to something bigger, right? And you know that because of their sacrifice, the galaxy gets saved, if you may call it saved. And then you get to see a scene to like leave you in a cliffhanger, but not really, because you already have episode 4. To me, the thing is, I'm a person who really likes Halo, and one of my favorite games is actually Halo Reach, which is in between Halo 1 to 3. It happens before them. I played them all, the original versions with first, third, ODST, and Reach. And I like Reach because of the same reasons. Your character is not as strong as Master Chief. People can die. They, how, just like they said that the rebellion is built on hope, right? In Halo, they say that Spartans are hope. That's the symbol of hope, at least. That's why they don't die. They just get lost in action, MIA. And if you follow the story of Reach, it's like again like the Vietnam of the war, where you're gonna fall, things are gonna go wrong because we were set to fail because you didn't have the right info when you go in, and then you just make your way and use the best you can out of it. Not justifying actual war, but like an analogy to the world in the universe fail. And then one by one go dying, and in the end you get a choice to leave, but in the end you have to protect the ship that is leaving, and you do it for the cause. And that ship turns out to be the Pillar of Autumn, which is carrying Master Chief in Halo 1. Well, Halo. Anyways, so yeah, you do it, and then there's a little cutaway that is the beginning of Halo 1. It's not exactly identical the format, because this one is the actual words. It's not the same animation, the angle, but you get to hear a little voice clip just like the one from Halo. In this case, you get to see Darth Vader walking into a hallway, kinda imitating the scene from when he comes into the ship in episode 4, right before he comes for Leia. However, I just feel like it's the same formula now. I'm saying this is kind of like a sweet and sour thing to me because I like it, because it's the same reason I liked Reach, but at the same time it's like if somebody watched Reach and said that'd be cool for a Star Wars film. So it's kind of like, I'm not saying anybody cannot do it, and again they are a movie and one is a game, and there's been enough time in between them, not like anybody cannot do the same formulas, but it's just odd to me because it just rang like if it's something I've already seen. However, it's something cool that I like, so it's kind of like an feeling for me. Nah, you know, again, that's my opinion. I think it's a good movie. If you disagree, if you have anything else from your point of view, please comment on the, write down in the comments. Again, that's my opinion. I liked it. I think it's a good war sci-fi movie. I think it's a good Star Wars movie, but it's not in the same line. That's again, I see it separately. And yeah, now, speaking of Halo Reach, I thought I'd tell you like a funny story, but I really liked the game. I finished it all in one go on the same night. And when you get to the end, spoiler alert, whoever leaves, you stay in the planet, and you're supposed to fight because you're stuck in like a little thing with 3 turrets that have unlimited ammo. So you can fight, and then you're supposed to go down and get killed. That's the end of the story. Your helmet falls. You see it from your perspective. From the perspective of the helmet, as you fall by Elite stabbing you with a sword. I didn't know you were supposed to die because I tried to keep myself from spoilers by the time I bought this game. Was a little bit after, but still. So I just kept fighting with the unlimited turrets for a long time. Could have been over an hour. I don't know. And at some point, I just got pissed off, and I thought maybe I'm supposed to run. So I took one of the turrets off the bases, and now I had limited ammo. I ran out and I started showing my way, and I still made a pretty decent amount until something took me down. I think I ran out of bullets, and then I started having to fight, and then finally happened the animation, and then I realized, oh, I was supposed to die. Oh, I don't know. It's funny because all the time I spent before I realized that I was going against the story. Just thought I'd share. If you liked, also let me know. I have a lot of stories about Halo, my friends and I playing. But yeah. Anyways, I'll leave you with that. Let me know what you think about the movie, about Halo, and I'm gonna go back and start working on those subtitles and details. See you guys later. This is Ali. Have a nice evening, and see you tomorrow. Bye.